Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Everybody, including the media, but they don't really cover it fairly. I will tell you that. It's shocking. Please sit down. Thank you. We gathered here today for a truly solemn occasion. Throughout this hall, I am joined by heartbroken Americans who have lost parents, siblings, children, grandchildren, and treasured loved ones to the scourge of illegal immigration led in by the past administration. Millions and millions of people from jails, millions and millions of people from countries that we don't want to know about. Drug dealers, murderers, 11,888 murderers were allowed into our country by the Biden administration. These are the angel families that we love, that for decades our government betrayed and our media totally ignored, and I've seen it. When I first got involved with the angel families, I had a meeting. It was so sad. And they got up and spoke, and the media literally just turned off the cameras. They didn't want to hear them. It was my first glimpse as to what was happening. These are sick people that cover stories like that, or that don't cover them, which is worse. Everyone in this room not only suffered an infinite loss, they were the victims of politicians who put the comfort of foreign criminals before the safety of American citizens and American patriots. Their stories were censored and suppressed like maybe almost never before, so that the politicians could open our borders and allow our nation to be invaded. If we didn't win the election, our nation would right now be destroyed. But under the Trump administration, their suffering is forgotten no longer. In just a few moments, I officially sign a proclamation that I've been waiting to sign for a long time, including my first administration. There were so many different legal roadblocks, it was incredible. We got it done, and I'm doing it today. February 22nd is going to be National Angel Family Day. Very important. So many incredible family members and friends, parents and children. On February 22nd, 2 years ago, a brilliant 22-year-old nursing student named Laken Riley went out for a run on a college campus in Georgia. Laken was viciously attacked, brutally beaten and murdered by an illegal alien gang member who the last administration heartlessly released into our country. No problems. Let them in. They let in everybody. They didn't check anybody. They let in everybody. Among the first bills I signed into law after taking office last year was the Laken Riley Act. I'm so proud of it. To ensure illegal alien criminals are rapidly removed from the United States of America. That's okay with the media. That bill has already been really playing a big role in the life of our country. It's resulted in over 21,000 illegal alien arrests. 21,000. We're joined this morning by Laken's parents, who I have gotten to know. These are incredible people. And I want to ask Laken's mother, Allison, to please come forward and say a few words, please.
Well, this is unexpected, but I think that a lot of people feel like that President Trump is maybe different than the version that I've gotten to know. And I just can't thank you enough. You have said from the beginning, literally the day after this happened, that you would not forget about Laken. You weren't president at that time, and you have not forgotten. You have fought a fight that most people would not want to have to fight. Most people wouldn't. They would just say it's just easier not to do this. And President Trump you are doing a thankless job that most people just wouldn't do. And I just can't thank you enough. There are just not enough words to say. Because if you lived the nightmare that we have lived, you understand the importance of the job that he's doing and securing our nation and fighting for our families. Because this could be any family. This happened to my family. This could be any one of your families. And Laken was the most responsible, hardworking, kind, selfless, beautiful Christian. And she wasn't somebody that put herself in bad positions. She didn't make bad choices. She was just a good girl. And she just wanted to go for a run that morning after she'd gotten up at 4 o'clock the morning before to decorate her roommate's door for her birthday. And she did everything for everyone else. She expected nothing in return. She just wanted to be a good friend and a good sister and a good daughter and a hardworking nurse. She was working so hard for. And I'm beyond blessed and thankful that you're honoring not just Laken, because she's one in a ton of people that have suffered at the hands of illegal immigrants. She's not the only one. And so thank you for honoring all of them, not just Laken. And we're just beyond grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Amazing, Allison. You have to go through this. Doesn't get that much easier, does it? Right? Even with time. It's been a while now, and it doesn't get that much easier. But I want to thank you for your incredible courage. We're all courageous in a sense. Everybody in this room is courageous. And we're willing to tell the story. And that I don't know why the news doesn't want to hear it. The Democrats don't want to hear it. The radical left, they don't want to hear it. What's not to hear? We want to stop murderers and criminals from coming into our country. I watched the mayor of Minneapolis. I watched these people saying, we want to protect murderers. I don't get it. Something's sick. They're sick. Can't have a country like that. So we appreciate the bravery of everybody in this room, actually. And Christy, I want to thank you, and I want to thank Tom in particular for, we have a border that's 100% closed now. 100%. So Laken's story is even more tragic because her death was completely preventable. This shouldn't have happened. Guy should never have been here. Not only should her killer not have been released into our country in the first place, but he was released a second time after being arrested in New York City. Here today is a great gentleman, the police officer who arrested that illegal alien, only to watch him be set free to kill. I mean, he was arrested and they let him go free. They knew he was trouble, big trouble. Many of them are like that. They release him knowing he's going to kill again, but they released him and set him free to kill Laken. So I'd like to have Ethan Carreri come up, please. He's a great, highly respected police officer, and you could explain what happened. Come on up. Thank you, Ethan.
Mr. President, it's an honor to be here today, and it's an honor to be speaking with you guys. My name is Ethan Carreri. I'm a police officer in Palm Beach County, Florida, and a former New York City police officer. While serving the New York City Police Department, I personally arrested Jose Ibarra for endangering the welfare of a child. A few months later, I saw his face again in the news after he viciously murdered Laken Riley. I did my job. I put him in custody. The system failed. No detainer, no accountability, no deportation, and an innocent American life was taken. If you enter our country illegally, there will be consequences under this administration. The American citizens must always come first. To Laken Riley's family, your loss should have never happened. We owe it to you and every American family to enforce our laws, secure our border, and protect innocent lives. Mr. President, thank you so much for having me here today, and thank you for all you've done for our country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I notice you left New York to come to Florida. In a way, it's too bad, right? Couldn't take it anymore. They don't let you do your job. But thank you very much, Ethan. It's a great, highly respected person. I have to do a little checking before I introduce people, otherwise I get in trouble. Sometimes I introduce people and they say, sure, did you know this or that? But you checked out very, very well. Wow. Stories like Laken's are one more reason why my administration will do everything in our power to end the scourge of sanctuary cities once and for all. They protect criminals. Why do people find they protect criminals with a vengeance? They fight for these criminals like murderers. They're protecting murderers. They fight for them so hard. There's something wrong with them. We're joined today by so many angel families who are grieving a terrible loss. They've gone through hell. Steve Ronbeck was the father of 21-year-old Grant Ronbeck, a beautiful guy, who was shot and murdered by an illegal alien while he was working behind the counter of a convenience store in Arizona. He was working behind the counter. Steve, would you please come forward, talk about your boy.
You know, I spent some time with President Trump in his first election. President Trump talked about Grant even before he was elected in 2016. And finally, we had hope. We had hope that it was going to end. I was just talking to Secretary Noem that we all sat around the table one day during one of our visits to Washington. And again, the word preventable came up. All these deaths at the hands of illegal immigrants are preventable. They could have been stopped. We could have done so much more, unfortunately, at the hands of an election that we questioned. Somebody took their foot off the brakes, put their foot on the accelerator to let these people into our country. And it wasn't just regular people, it was criminals, it was murderers, killers, rapists. And now today, we are finally going to see that somebody's going to remember all of our loved ones. They're going to remember the names, and they're going to remember what we've all been through. Thank you, Mr. President.
And think of it, I'm not talking politics, I'm just talking life. If that election, it wasn't rigged, it was a rigged election by millions and millions of votes a guy that never left his basement. It was all run by crooked people. COVID was a little bit of a shield. We had a lot of things going on. But it was rigged by millions of votes. We did great in that election. If that election wasn't rigged, every single one of the people in this room right now would not be here. You'd be home with your son, daughter, family. We had a strong border. You know, we solved it twice, Tom. We solved it. In 2016, the border was bad. Nothing like it was this time. It was like beautiful compared to this time. This was legendary. In the history of the world, there's never been a border like this when millions of people poured in. At least 25 million people. And many of them were the wrong people. Many. You know, when countries fill up the caravans, they don't fill them up with their finest. I wouldn't. And I would do exactly what they did if the United States would be willing to take all of our criminals and people, or people that don't work. But they are smart people. I got to know most of those leaders. I know them. I said, what are you doing? They said, look, it was totally open border. They saved hundreds of millions of dollars. And they gave it to us, and we've done a great job. Tom Home, Christine Home, our people have been incredible, the job they've done. And they take nothing but abuse, but you know, they're sort of pretty hardened to that, I think, because they know they're doing the right thing. It just amazes me that there's not more support out there. It's just, we actually have a silent support. I think it's silent. I think well, that's how I won. I got probably 85 million votes. They say 78 million, 79 million. They cheated in this election too. It was just too big to rig. Too big to rig. But they cheated like hell. They can't win on policy. Men and women's sports. We have a new one though. Voter ID. I think that's as crazy as they won't approve voter ID. They won't approve proof of citizenship. They won't approve no mail-in ballots, even though they know it's crooked as hell. Where the ballots are sent to, in many cases, Democrats. Republicans don't get theirs, and they're calling frantically to get their ballot. A Democrat will get 3, 4, 5, 6, and even 7 ballots. And then we're supposed to win. That's what they're good at. They're professional. Cheaters. But we wouldn't be here right now. I'm just thinking as we're going through it, because we've suffered through it together. I suffer for the country. I mean, it's the people I've gotten to know, the mothers and fathers, mostly mothers and fathers. Husbands in some cases, wives in some cases, but mostly mothers and fathers, what they have to go through. Also with us is Marie Vega, the mother of Javier Vega Jr., the retired U.S. Marine and Border Patrol agent, so respected, who was murdered in front of his family by 2 illegal aliens, bad ones, really bad ones. People you could look at them and you could say, trouble. Trying to steal his family's trucks. He wanted to take everything the family had, but the trucks in particular. Marie, please come forward. Thank you, Don.
President Trump, on behalf of my family and I, thank you for hosting this beautiful remembrance in honor of our loved ones who were killed by illegal aliens. As you said, August the 3rd, 2014, my husband Javier, my son, Marine and Border Patrol agent Javier Harvey Vega, his wife, 2 of his sons and a friend, and I were fishing in Santa Monica, Texas. Within minutes of settling in, we were ambushed by 2 illegal aliens with many priors. Without warning, they jumped out of their stolen vehicle with guns that were not supposed to be in their possession in an attempt to steal 2 4-wheel drive vehicles. While trying to defend us, Harvey was shot in the chest and killed. My husband, Javier Sr., was shot in the back. Remember, you all, children were there fishing with their friends, and they just kept shooting You could hear the bullets just whizzing past you. Have yet senior returned fire with this weapon, and I grabbed the AR that Harvey had attempted to defend us with, and I returned fire as well. Had we not fired back, they would have killed everyone there, including the children, so that there wouldn't be any witnesses. And they killed an amazing man, a loving and honorable dad and husband. Thank God we have you in office. Without you, America and the world would not know the consequences of open borders. Thank you for restoring law and order. Thank you for acknowledging us, the Angel families. Every day I think of you and the heavy weight of a nation that you carry with you. I can't imagine what it must be like to wake up every morning, work so diligently amid attacks and resistance from the left, to deal with the craziness, the fraud, and the swamp. But you get it done day in and day out, all while finding solutions to making America great again. You absolutely amaze me. Please know that we see it, and we, the masses, your constituents, are behind you 100%. When you were elected the first time, for the first term as president, I remember saying to my boss, this is exactly what this country needed, a businessman. You did an outstanding job then, and although you were cheated out of the second term, by the way, you won that election as well, and we know it. I knew the third term was going to be epic, and here we are, mega. Before I end this, I have to share a sweet story with you about my daddy. He absolutely hated the way people treated you and attacked you. On your third run for office, he said to me, "Mijita," which means my little daughter in Spanish, "Can you check to see if I'm up to date and still registered to vote? We need to make sure President Trump gets into office." I said, "Of course, Daddy." And I did, and I checked, and he was registered to vote. We lost a great man, April the 3rd of 2025, and that would be my dad. Again, thank you for everything. Thank you for backing Border Patrol and ICE, and backing these families. Thank you so much.
So beautiful. You know, I was thinking as you were saying that running again for a third time after having gone through what we went through the second time, which was so horrible. So much cheating, so much deception and viciousness, and you could see what they were going to do. And I'm here now, and it's a much more powerful term than my second term would be. And much more powerful. And one of the reasons is everybody sees how bad they were. And I had to go through, and I still do, fake stories, fake polls. And I had polls for the election that showed I was going to get swamped, and I won in a landslide. They were fake polls because polls are tough. You know, when you get a fake poll, I get them today. I saw one today that I'm at 40%. 40%. I'm not at 40%. I'm at much higher than that. I mean, I'd love to run against anybody. The real polls say you kill everybody. It wouldn't even be close. But you go through the fake polls, you go through the fake stories. And I said, you know, it was good because this is really a much more powerful term than I would have had if I had run, because it was just one of those things. There would be nothing to compare it to. And now they compare it to Biden and that horrible, horrible administration. And I mean it, it is more powerful. Our military is much more powerful. We rebuilt it mostly in the first term. Then they gave away a chunk of it. And as much as it was, it's very small relatively, Tom. But we gave it to the Taliban. Just walked out. We could have taken it with us. They said, oh, I think it's cheaper to leave the planes. Just put a little jet fuel and fly it to a neighbor or fly it right home. Sir, I think it's cheaper. I think we'll save money by leaving a $150 million jet on the runway. These people are crazy. But I said, and I've said to a lot of people, it's much better what happened, but not for you people, it's not. And then I go back and say, but I wish it didn't, because every one of your loved ones would be alive today. Everyone in this room, I think, maybe there's one where it could have sneaked through during our term, but I don't think so. We had a very tough border. We solved it in 2016, and we had a very strong border. I would say nothing is as strong as what we have now, but we had a very strong border. We had a good border. We had a sane border. It was sane. And I say, I like this much better, much more respect. You read about all these crazy shooters, but they only go after consequential presidents. They don't go after non-consequential presidents, If you take a look, Abraham Lincoln, some big one. John Kennedy, in a certain way, was very consequential. He represented something very important. He was there for 1,000 days, as you know, the book, 1,000 days, but he was consequential. There was a glamour, there was something good for our country, right? But they consequential, and I was told that. I saw that the other day. They said they only go after consequential. So maybe I want to be a little bit less consequential. Can we hold it back a little bit, please, Tom? Can we just, nice and easy? Let's be a normal president for a little while. Because we had the greatest first term, I think, of any president in history. A lot of people have said that. Even radical left people have said that. And so it's, But the one problem is that, and every time I say it, I go back to the one thing. I said, but we wouldn't have had 25 million people allowed to come into our country, totally unchecked, totally unvetted. And those are the people that destroyed your lives. They destroyed your lives. They wouldn't be there. So I always say, I like it better, but there's one thing I don't like better, and that's what they did. Because I think that's the single biggest problem. He gave us inflation, highest inflation we've ever had. I solved that. Right now, inflation's at a very low number. How about gasoline? I was in Iowa, $1.85 a gallon. I solved that. I did a great job with that. Prices are coming way down, and I'll get them down further. But, Christ, no matter. By the way, if I came up with a cure for cancer, they would say, he should have done it years ago. There's not a thing I can do where these people are going to give me credit, and that's okay, because we won in a landslide, so the people understand. People understand. But the one thing that I regret about the election and the process, because it's a much bigger, more important, you look at what we're doing throughout the world, we're respected like we've never been before. But the one thing that I can't do anything about is that he allowed 25 million people, many of these murderers, drug lords, criminals, people from mental institutions, they emptied their mental institutions, Tom, is that right? All over the world. Not just in South America. They emptied their jails. Many of them from all over the world. Why? Why would we do this? And they walk in, nobody even asked for, do you have an identification? Do you have an ID? It's so crazy. The mayor of New York, and he's a very nice person. I met him, but his ideology is not too good. But we're having a massive snowstorm right now, and I heard that he's asked people to come out and help shovel the snow. Okay, so you get a shovel and you start shoveling, right? What the hell, you're not going to help too much, but you can help. And hello, darling, how are you? Noah, right behind you, look, my friend, right? Are you okay? Yes, you. Are you okay? Are you okay?
I'm doing very well. I just
Good.
want to give you a hug when this is all
Good. Are your eyes okay?
Wednesday. They
I gave her money to get her eyes fixed. A lot of money to get her eyes fixed. That doctor ripped me off, but that's okay. And when do you go?
Wednesday I go for surgery. It was postponed because they said the grief caused me to have 2 heart attacks.
Well, you get them done. It's an operation, but it's 100%. It's great.
It's Wednesday.
Good. You're going to have 20/20 vision. She's almost blind, cataracts. She's almost blind. And with one operation, that will take a very short period of time. Hope you have a good doctor.
I hope so.
He's an expensive doctor, top of the line, right? But you know what? You're going to have 20/20 vision. because I noticed you're wearing glasses. I saw you yesterday on television wearing glasses, and I said, well, but anyway. But, you know, speaking of your family, it would be a lot different right now, except for the election. So I always say, it's too bad that happened. And if I had it to do again, it's despite the tremendous job we're doing now, I wish it could have been the other way, because we wouldn't even be having this meeting right now. There'd be nobody. I wouldn't have gotten to know you, but it's gotten to know you under very bad circumstances, right? The worst circumstances. So, one of those things. But the thing I can't understand is why the press isn't more supportive. They're so dishonest. The stories, the polls, they poll you, they say, oh, the angel moms. I think the angel moms are the finest people I've met. I mean, the angel moms and families and dads, but these are unbelievable. Why are they so angry with angel moms? They had their child killed. Stories that are so horrible, I'm not going to mention. A couple of people are in the room. What they did with the child after they murdered the child. It's not even, and these people are actually on the side of the criminal. I don't get it, Tom. Someday you're going to explain it to me. But I don't think you can either. It's crazy. Laura Wilkerson.
Thank you for watching ANF Plus. For more breaking news, live coverage, and your community stories, download the Atlanta News First app. You can also watch us on YouTube, Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. To join the conversation on YouTube Live, visit our channel and hit subscribe. You can also listen to the Atlanta News First podcast by searching Atlanta News First on your preferred listening platform.